Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at how to make menus in iOS. So let's get right into the coding. We're going to choose iOS and then app. Make sure to use Xcode 12, beta 1 and above, otherwise this tutorial will not work. So let's state a product name which is going to be menus in iOS, something like that, and make sure the interface is storyboards, even though we're probably not going to use it, and it's UIKit app delegate. So let's click next. Let's save this. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is head over to the main.storyboard and embed this view controller inside of a navigation controller, because we want to use the navigation controller's bar button item properties in our project. Alright, inside of a view controller, let's create a function that will have two things, and let's call this setup bar button item. Alright, in this bar button item setup function, we're gonna have two important stuff. The first thing we're gonna have is a UI action. If you don't know what UI action is, I highly encourage you to check out my previous video, which is on the iOS color picker. That will help you understand what UI actions are. But the first thing we're gonna do is gonna create a UI action, and the next thing we're going to do is create a UI menu. And I'm going to show you the difference and why these two things actually matter and why are they differently used inside of our class. So let's create a save action first. So let's call this let's save action is equal to UI action, and we're going to just call its title initializer, and we're going to pass in an empty title, and inside of the closure we're going to say action in, and we can do anything that we want here. So we can say print save action was triggered. Right, so now this is an action, so something we can do when the button is tapped on. Now let's create a UI menu for which you have come to watch this video. We can create the UI menu using the UIMenu initializer. Very fascinating. So let's save menu is equal to UIMenu. Now we need to look at its initializers very carefully. It has title, image, options, and children. We're not going to use everything. We're just going to call title first. So we're going to call this an empty title for now, and then we're going to say children. And this children, each of it takes one UI action. So each child is a UI action. So we're going to open it, and then we're going to close it here. And inside of this, we can create multiple UI actions that will show up as menu items when the button is long pressed. And I'll tell you why it has to be long pressed. So I'll just type in a few UI actions and I'll be back. Alright, so now I have 4 UI actions. One is copy, one is rename, one is duplicate, one is move. Each of the UI action has a image, which is an SF symbol, and it does nothing initially, but we can for at least the copy one, we can just print saying copy initiated. So now the setup of the UI menus and UI action is complete. All we have left to do is set up the actual bar button. So let's create the actual bar button that the users can interact with. So we're going to say let's save button is UI bar button item, and we're going to pass in an image first, which is an UI image called a system name. So we'll use an SF symbol. So I like square.and.arrow.down. And then we're going to say primary action. Now this is where it gets interesting. It accepts an UI action, so we can pass in this save action that we have created here. So we're going to say save action, and then it can take in a menu, which is this UI menu that we have created here. So we're going to say save menu. Now all we have left to do is set this save button as a navigation item bar button. So we're going to say navigation item dot write bar button item is the save button. That's it. And don't forget to call setup bar button item inside of your view.load function. So let's run this. So our app is running, and we can see our bar button as well here. Once we tap on this, we can see that it gets triggered. The print function gets triggered because that's the primary action for this bar button. But if we press and hold it, we can see that we get the menu that we created here. So the save menu gets created when we long press on this. Now why do we have to long press on this? We can activate this even with a single press. If you want to activate this with whenever the user touches the button or taps on the button, you just have to remove the primary action. When you remove the primary action from the bar button's initializer, the bar button takes the menu presenting as its primary action. So if you run this now, so now we can see when we tap on this button, we get the menu. directly. We don't have to wait, or we don't have to have the user long press on the button to activate it. And that's exactly how simple it is to present these brand new simple UI menus inside of your iOS app. Now, a couple of things to note here. Please, when you have destructive actions, please still use the action sheets, because as Apple suggests in one of their WWDC session videos, there has to be some friction for a user when they're doing a destructive action, and usually delete functions are destructive and they can cause loss of data. So you should still present an action sheet, but for the rest of the scenarios, you're going to replace your action sheet with these brand new, simple to use, cute menu. So that's been it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, like. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you soon in the next one.